Once upon a time, in the bustling city of Lagos, Nigeria, there lived a young lady named Vera. She was a kind and compassionate person. Vera had a close-knit circle of friends, but among them was a childhood friend whose name was Stella, whom she trusted with her life. Vera and Stella had grown up together, sharing secrets, dreams, and aspirations. They had been inseparable, and Vera considered Stella a sister. As they grew older, they began to pursue different careers, but their friendship remained unshaken. Vera became a successful businesswoman, while Stella pursued a career in law. Most at times, Vera's mother had called her and warned her seriously against Stella. She had always told Vera that she doesn't like Stella and don't think she can be trusted. But Vera would always tell her that Stella was her childhood friend, and they hardly fight, not to talk of harming each other. One day, Vera met a charming and wealthy businessman named Eric, who swept her off her feet. They began a romantic relationship, and Vera was over the moon. She confided in her friend Stella about her newfound love, and Stella seemed genuinely happy for her. Whenever Vera wanted to visit Eric, Stella would always love to go with her. It got to a point that Eric became uncomfortable with the whole thing. He told Vera to stop bringing Stella to his house each time she was visiting him. Without thinking, Vera told Stella what Eric said to her, and Stella went ahead to tell her that Eric was not genuine, that he had evil intentions, and that was why he wanted her to be coming to his house alone. Vera was angry, and as a result, she went ahead to confront Eric about it. Eric was displeased with what Vera said. He told Vera that it was all lies, that he loved her so much and would never think of harming her. Vera didn't believe what he said, and because of that, Eric decided to stay away from Vera. Vera went home thinking he would come to her, but days passed and Eric didn't show up. Vera became worried and sad. She had grown to love Eric so much, and the thought of losing him broke her heart. She confided in her friend Stella, and Stella told her to go back to Eric and plead for forgiveness. Vera accepted and got ready to go to Eric's house the next day. Meanwhile, Stella left from Vera's house and went straight to see Eric at his place. She told Eric how Vera was planning to come back to him, not because she loved him, but because she wanted to be getting money from him. Stella went ahead to tell Eric how Bella jumped from one man to another, collecting money from them. She also told him that another reason why Vera was coming back to him was because she needed money to add to her business, and she hadn't gotten a man who is wealthy enough to take her body and give her the money she needed. That's how she has been running her business, Stella said to Eric, who has been listening to her with rapt attention. After saying all these things to Eric, he thanked Stella for exposing those things to him. Eric gave her some money and she left smiling satisfactorily. The next day, Vera dressed up and went to Eric's house. But before she could say anything, Eric got hold of a very long whip and chased Vera out of his house. He instructed his security men never to allow Vera into his house again. Vera went home feeling broken, disappointed, and pained. She went straight to Stella's house to narrate to her everything that happened. After she told Stella the whole story, Stella shouted and pretended like she knew nothing about it. She told Vera to forget about Eric, that he could probably be seeing another woman. Though Vera was heartbroken, she still managed to live her life and forget about Eric for good. She focused on growing her business and pursuing her life ambition. However, Stella went behind Vera's back and began to visit Eric almost on a daily basis. Stella and Eric began to get along, and as time went on, Stella started avoiding Vera. Most at times, Vera would call to visit her, since she no longer goes to Vera's house or shop, but she would expressly tell Vera that she was not around. She hardly takes Vera's calls, and even when she manages to take her call, she would tell Vera that she was busy and would call her back later, which she would never do. Vera became confused and wondered why Stella was treating her that way. One day, She decided to pay Stella an unexpected visit, but immediately Stella saw her walking in, she began to get ready like she wanted to go somewhere. Vera wanted to talk to her, but she pretended like she was in a hurry and needed to leave immediately. Vera went home that day confused and disappointed. Few months later, Vera was in her shop when her mother walked into her shop with sadness written all over her face. Vera asked her why she was looking sad, but instead of replying, she simply opened her bag and brought out a wedding invitation card and handed it to Vera, who went through it but couldn't understand a thing. She asked her mom who owns the invitation card, and her mom told her that it was no one else other than her friend Stella, and she was getting married to Eric, his ex-boyfriend. Stella laughed, thinking it was a joke, but when she read the invitation again, she needed no soothsayer to tell her that Stella was truly getting married to Eric. Before her mother could say another word to her, she was already on her heels, running to Stella's house. She met Stella in front of the gate. Stella was about stepping out. Vera threw the card at her and told her to explain it, but Stella laughed out loudly and told Vera that she only played her card well, and she was lucky that everything fell in pleasant places for her. She also told Vera that she would have used her as a maid of honor, but she won't because she doesn't trust her. Vera was shocked and found it hard to believe what was going on, because this was the same friend she trusted so much and was ready to do anything for her. Vera managed to ask her why she was doing all this, and she went ahead to tell her that it was all because she was always getting the good things. She was always being the lucky one, and life seemed to favor Vera more. She just couldn't sit down, fold her hands, and watch without doing anything. She needed to fight for herself, and that was exactly what she did. After saying all this to Vera, she smirked and walked away, laughing and feeling fulfilled. Vera's whole body was shaking, and she remembered what her mom told her about Stella. She bent down and cried loudly. The one person she trusted so much just stabbed her at the back. She cried till she got home. She just couldn't bear the pain. It was too much for her. She remained in her room, refusing to talk to anyone or even go to shop. Her mother tried to convince her to be strong and put the past behind her, but even though it was very hard for her, she managed to put herself together. The once unbreakable bond between the two friends was now shattered into a million pieces. Vera was left to rebuild her life, but the scars of Stella's betrayal would remain forever. She realized that sometimes the people we trust the most can become the very ones who bring us down. Because of this, she had to close down her shop and move to another town to start up life again. She knew starting all over again wouldn't be easy, but she just had to do it. Most importantly, she doesn't want to stay around to witness the wedding between Eric and Stella. She left and threw away everything behind her. When the day of the wedding finally came, Stella was overjoyed and greatly excited that her dreams were finally coming to pass. She offered to support the wedding with her life savings and highly anticipated the great day. She was dressed up in a white flowing wedding gown and was already seated in the church with her bridal train, waiting patiently for Eric to arrive. They waited for hours, but there was no sign of him. They called him severally, but his phones were switched off. All the guests were already seated, and at this point, Stella was already running temperature, and her clothes were soaked with tears. Not long after, Eric showed up in a casual wear. He wasn't wearing the normal wedding suit, and his face lacked emotions. Immediately, Stella sighted him walking into the church. She ran to him to ask him what was happening, but he gently brushed her aside and went straight to the altar. Eric picked up the church microphone and began to narrate to everyone what Stella did and how she backstabbed her friend who trusted her so much. He told the audience that he was only playing along with Stella because he wanted Stella to pay for her sins and also for Vera to know the kind of friend she had. After saying this, he apologized to the congregation and told them that there was no wedding and everyone should go home. He then dropped the microphone and walked away. There was murmuring everywhere. People were insulting and saying all manner of despicable things to Stella, who was already sweating profusely and shaking vigorously. Before you knew it, she fainted and her people had to rush her to the hospital. When she woke up in the hospital, the doctor examined her and told her people that she had to remain in the hospital for a very long time because what happened badly affected her mental health. Vera's mom called her and explained everything to her, and she was happy that Stella reaped what she sowed. In the end, Vera rose from the ashes, stronger and wiser. She rebuilt her business and found a new sense of purpose. Though the wound of Stella's betrayal would never fully heal, Vera learned to forgive and move forward, knowing that true friends are rare, and sometimes the ones we trust can become the very ones who betray us.